Yes, guys, welcome back to episode 7, I think, of Lilywhite Lounge. I'm joined by my brilliant co-host, Gus, all the way from New York. How you doing, Gus?
I'm doing well, Kish. Doing well. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Busy week, obviously. We didn't have a podcast last week. I was away in Mallorca, which was nice. But back to the grind now. Yeah, I've been busy this week, just kind of catching up on content and all that kind of thing. How's your week been?
It's been busy as well. Not doing as much content as you. Taking a little break from Twitter, working on a house I bought. So just trying to manage those projects, get in there as soon as possible. But besides that, been doing pretty well. Got a few get-togethers socially coming up that I'm looking forward to. Staying busy with work, that kind of thing. But overall, good. Overall, good.
Lovely. You watched the game last night?
I did. I was unfortunately sick, but fortunately able to watch the game. So I missed work yesterday, and it being a 2:45 kickoff, I was able to catch the whole thing because I wasn't at work. So I caught the whole thing. I didn't think I was going to catch any of it, so I'm glad I was able to catch it so I could add some insight today. I know that you missed the first half, right?
Yeah. So I was playing football for the first half, so I rushed back. Saw the second half. Wasn't much to see, to be honest. I found it quite frustrating. I missed I think what sounds like the more exciting parts of the game. I watched back bits of the first half. But yeah, I think let's start with some positives.
Mhm.
What did you think of Archie Gray's performance? Because I think for me, even in the second half, but I think especially the first half as well, he was a standout.
Mhm.
What did you think of him?
Personally, I love Archie. I've liked him since we bought him. I was a big I championed the buy back 2 summers ago, last summer.
Too, I
Um,
think.
and I was really looking forward to seeing him under Ange, kind of in the midfield, and we never really played him there. I think the last time we saw him in the midfield under Ange was at Anfield, which is crazy. Um, yeah, I really liked his performance last night. I think that every performance he's had this year for us, dating back to the preseason, has been really strong. He's shown a lot of maturity, a lot of growth. Not only with his build, like he looks bigger, he looks like a grown man, um, but he also looks technically just really solid. And I knew that that was part of his game when we purchased him. He's really good at riding those challenges, always seems to have the right weight on all of his passes, which is hard to teach. I mean, he's just naturally a good footballer, which we need in that position. That box to box eight is where he's going to thrive, I think, this year. I don't think Frank really wants him super deep. And yesterday, he was kind of all over the pitch. His touch map was really good. He was combining a lot with Brennan up the right side. It really helped Brennan. I think they're really close, and that they just have good combination play, which is kind of a rarity for Brennan. He's That's not usually one of his strengths. So that was a really encouraging thing to see. I thought that he showed a lot of composure when he was receiving the ball down the channel. Poor seemed to be just spamming him down the channel to kind of combine with Brennan so that we could get across into the box. He looked just really confident, really composed. Um, Weirdly enough, for a 19-year-old, probably looked like our most mature player. Uh, and that is something that I knew he had in his locker, but we haven't seen enough of it. And that preseason game against Newcastle really got me excited. I thought we were on the precipice of his breakout. I think this year will be a little bit of a up and down year where he might not play some games, play when we're in a congested part of the season. But I thought yesterday was a sign of things to come. I'm really, really excited to see kind of how Frank uses him in these next few fixtures that are kind of on the easier side.
Yeah, I think now is a bit of a congested moment. I think we'll get a lot of minutes out of him. For me, I think the perfect word is just like accomplished. Like I think he is just pretty good at everything. He makes right decisions. He is clean in his striking of passes of both feet as well. Yeah, and I think yesterday's position was quite odd to me, like in terms of how I would profile him. He was very high, even very very wide at times, like sort of picking up De Bruyne-esque positions, even not with the kind of same style, but those positions. And you're right, I think Johnson's. link-ups look the best it's ever looked. Played a lot of like cushioned one-touch passes back to him, and then him kind of advancing onto it. I think you're right about him being a number 8 at the moment. Um, I think there's a lot to say about how much pressure you put on a young player playing them in that 6 role. I think the reason is because where you ask them to receive the ball is probably the most dangerous area on the pitch to receive it. So you've got a player who's not facing, or is facing his own goal, so doesn't necessarily always know what's around him. Um, Also is in a zone where if they lose the ball, it's pretty likely they'll get a shot off a goal, the opposition. Um, so you have to have so much safety there, and it's a fine balance between being too safe in that position, but also being secure enough to not constantly turn the ball over. And that's why that position requires so much IQ, awareness, which I do think Archie has. And so I understand the kind of risk of playing him there, but I also really want to see it because I do think that's what he can grow into. I think a player who's that tactically aware, understands space as well as him, understands body position as well and the way he receives it. He's so good at protecting the ball. He's deceptively strong as well. I think he sometimes surprises me how strong he is. And he can move like athletically. I think his change of direction is sometimes a little bit clunky, but in terms of when he can get open space, I think he gallops really well. So that's why I kind of I want to grow him in that position, and you have to pick the games very carefully. And I think Frank's pretty much done that so far. He probably could have played him deeper yesterday. I think he played him deep against Burnley, if I'm not
Oh, no,
wrong.
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the first game of the season. I think that was a great game to play him in there. So as long as we can keep kind of, obviously he'll get lots of 8 minutes, but I also let's try and get him as many 6 minutes as possible as well. And obviously we're playing a double pivot in there, so at times they do kind of switch, but there is tending to be one that sits a bit deeper. But yeah, as a player who has that high of an IQ, I think the number 6 position for me is the perfect place to kind of develop him as.
Mm.
All the smartest players for me are those players. Like it takes so much kind of intelligence to play. But yeah, that's kind of where I see Gray's development. But again, there's no point in rushing him into that role so far.
He's he's been around the game for his whole life with his family and the legacy that they have. He has that intelligence that you see with a much older player, and I think that you're so right that we want to develop him where he's the most comfortable right now and where we can get the most out of him, but also we want to pick and choose the games that we play him in more risky position. And I think that just seeing the way he glides with the ball. Yesterday, he was able to make simple dribbles in the middle of the pitch to get past players, ride challenges. Like you said, there was a couple moments where he just put a forearm into someone's chest and lost him completely. And that weight of pass is usually a good sign of like a midfielder's intelligence for me, knowing when to zip a ball in or when to lay one off. And I just think that he has all of the tools to be able to play both positions at a high level. But right now, where I see him is he's just a very solid midfielder. Like he's just a very good player to have. And we don't have very many players that are all action as he is. And that's where I think he can get those minutes. Sarr's a great generalist. He can do a lot of things at a very high level, but I think Archie has a little bit of knack for a pass in the final third. He can pick up the ball and turn a player a little bit better than Pep. There's a lot more he adds to that position that we don't quite have, and it's helpful that he's like 6'2" and he's big and he's strong and he doesn't play like a 19-year-old.
No, and I think that's the main thing with Gray, as he plays like he's played football for years and years and years. And yeah, like you said, there's no rush of putting Gray in the 6 straight away. There's a lot of things he can do well, and I think with Gray as well, you slot him in a team, kind of in any position across the back 4, across the midfield, and he'll do a very good job. Obviously, last season he played a lot in the kind of depleted team, but if you slot him into the first team, he's not going to look out of place ever. He's that accomplished. He's that kind of smooth and relaxed. And yeah, I think that's a testament to kind of how mature he is at 19. And I think people rush, like we've said so many times, people rush these guys' developments, but you've got to think a 19-year-old should not be as rounded and mature as he is. So you just got to be patient with players like him. Like the investment is there. Obviously, the club have spent a lot of money on him, but I'd be very, very shocked if the club aren't happy with where he's at right now. I think they're managing him actually pretty well. So yeah, that's on Gray. For me, a negative that I found, or it's not just this game, but is Bentancur. I think I'm obviously switching between Bentancur and Palhinha in terms of I don't like that pairing, and people know that I don't like that pairing. And I'm kind of, as we're going, working out who can we switch out long term to gain more upside. And obviously, there was a lot of chat about Palhinha, and I think now I look at it, I think Palhinha brings more specialism or specialty to the team in terms of his elite ball winning and his marshalling. Whereas Bentancur, I think, doesn't really have that specialty where we can afford to carry him in possession in the way we do. He's not adding enough upside to take those downsides. What are your thoughts on that?
I somewhat agree. I think that Palhinha has won me over pretty quickly, as he has most. I think that his specialty is much more of a positive than I realized initially. But I agree with you. That pivot is a little bit too messy, a little bit too regressive, I would say, than we need it to be. I remember when we first were rumored to get Palhinha, I said, Bentancur, Palhinha, double pivot, no thank you. And I'll stand on that. I think that you need someone who's a little bit more progressive, who can carry next to Palhinha, who can pass. And I agree. I think that Bentancur has his uses. He's going to put in a 6 to 7 out of 10 almost every game. Rarely drops like a really bad performance where he needs to get hooked or is the culprit for multiple mistakes. He's composed. He's calm with the ball. He just never really looks forward. And he can be really frustrating in possession if we're trying to build up. If we're playing him and Palhinha and they're both hiding in build up, we limit our options, and there's not much we can really do, even if we have a super progressive 10 like Madison, who's going to drop deep and carry us up the pitch or kind of find a ball through the channels. They kind of work off each other to become who's going to be less regressive, who's going to pass it back more, who's going to not show in build up. And it puts a lot of responsibility on Kuti. It puts a lot of responsibility on Porro and our wingers to kind of drag us up the pitch, where Bentancur can break up play at a decent clip. I don't think he's a dueler that is going to change a game. I'm with you. I don't want to scapegoat him, because I think that he has performances where I'm like, wow, he was the reason why we controlled tempo. He can be a tempo controller. He's not too excitable in that way, where he gets out of his body and out of what he's able to do, which I do respect about him. He's not trying things that he's not comfortable with, and you can't really knock a player for sticking to his role and what he's good at. So in games like yesterday, I think that while without him, with someone who's able to punch a pass through the lines and carry us up the pitch more aggressively, show every time we're trying to build up from the back, I think that we would have looked prettier. I think that to a certain extent, I'm okay with the performances that he's been putting in. I think that he is good for now, but he's upgradable, which is, I kind of like that position for us, where he's not, and this might be controversial to some, he's not like a Højbjerg, where every performance we're like, wow, he's trash, or half the fan base is split on him and everyone thinks that he should be sold. I think a lot of people still respect that he's a serviceable player and he's good, but he's not going to win us a game. He's not going to put us over the top. Occasionally he'll play really well, and I think he's a good presence to have. I think a lot of the players really love him. Best friends with Kuti. He's, seems to have a really good relationship with Bergvall. So he's a presence to have, and I think that for experience, for the performances he put in, I'm not going to you know, put his head on a stick yet, but he definitely is upgradable. And I have some names that I've been throwing around. I wouldn't mind Alex Scott. I wouldn't mind Lamine Kamara. But those are next summer's problems. It's
I
not
mean,
something we have to talk about right now.
Alex Scott is a dream for me.
Yeah.
I think he's a dream for all Spurs fans because he's openly a Spurs fan as well. And he's been really good this
So
season.
good.
And I think he was always going to get there. He's had a couple ups and downs so far, but
Weird
he's
injuries. He's got like broke his
yeah.
jaw.
Yeah. But on Bentancur, I think the thing I think Bentancur really adds in possession that for most of his other attributes I can't say, but there's one thing I do think he does well, and that's when under real pressure, he is press resistant but not progressive. So there's a difference. I think someone like Dembele was press resistant and progressive, so he could withstand a press but also turn on it and drive into space and get us through the lines. Whereas Bentancur, pressure doesn't bother him. Like against Man City, I think was a great example. When we needed to kind of take the sting out of the game, he was really actually good at just bounce passing it or taking one touch and spraying it out to the fullback. He does take the ball in difficult situations, but what he doesn't do is turn on it and drive a pass then further forward. He always plays sideways or backwards. And I think this is part of the reason I think Bissouma took a lot more slack than Bentancur last season. Ignoring the off the field stuff. In terms of on the field, Bissouma would look to take risks like you should in that position, and due to the system, but also due to sometimes the fact that position you give the ball away. Often, Bissouma would give the ball away, and we'd be obviously due to the system, we'd be wide open, and that would cause big problems. But Bissouma was doing what a player in that position should do, and Bissouma does that to a much higher level than Bentancur. He can receive it under pressure, turn and drive with it through the space, break a line, and then play it off to someone else. Whereas Bentancur, because he didn't take those risks, he looked like he was having much better games because he was keeping the ball. His pass accuracy was probably up. He didn't look like he was making many mistakes. But in my eyes, that's not a better. They're two different things. And to be honest, I'd rather a player who takes risks there than someone who doesn't. And the other thing I think is Bissouma or another midfielder of that mold doesn't hide, and I feel like Bentancur hides on the ball a lot. He doesn't offer himself where he wants to receive it is outside the block. So let's say the opposition are pressing with two strikers. He's not going to ever stand in between the two strikers, try and receive it and go through them. He's going to stand to the side of one of them, which is a much safer place to receive it, but also a much less penetrable way to place to receive it, if that all makes sense. So that's why I think the optics look very different on those two. And I think neither of them are the long term answer, obviously. But I'm just saying that I think that's part of the reason why Bentancur gets a lot more love than Bissouma does. And I think some of the fan base really like him, which I feel like is Conte carrying. Like Conte platformed Bentancur really well, but Conte's platformed plenty of average players very well. Conte needs legs, and he needs you to listen to exactly what he wants you to do, and then he can turn you into a world-class player. And he's done it countless times. Because Conte does your thinking for you, it's so strict and regimented in terms of the patterns of play that you just know exactly where you're passing it before you receive it. You don't even have to think. And I think that really suited Bentancur because he's got the legs. He's got the technique actually to pull off these passes. It's more about his mental attributes that I have an issue with. So yeah, that's my bit on Bentancur. But again, he's not like a terrible player that's not good enough or I think like you said, I think he's just upgradable.
Yeah, to clarify, like I have no problem with him. I think that he adds a certain level of he adds a presence in our midfield that we need in those big games to relieve pressure. Like you said, he's a release valve, and he has some positives that we can use in certain game states in certain situations. He's one of those players that I never come away from a game thinking, wow, he was one of the reasons why we didn't win that game, or we didn't look forward more. I think that oftentimes he hides from those moments, and so I can't really assign blame to him. And he's kind of a tricky one for me. I used to love him to death back during the Conte era. I think we all did. Even coming off that ACL, I still have some love for him. So, I don't want to scapegoat him. I think that he's serviceable for this year, and we have no problem with continuing on with some lineups, especially when we get our 10s back. And we've got some more creative outlets in the team that he can pass to. Plus, I think that he's always a little bit better when Decky's on the pitch. They're close.
Yeah.
And they link really well together. So
I think it's a great point that what you say about it's difficult to notice these things, because I actually notice these things more when I'm rewatching the games. Yeah. Because I'm looking as well. I know because we've had issues with our build up with Frank. Mm-hmm. I've been looking. Okay, why are we not able to play through the midfield? And I think part of it is definitely structure. Like, as in Frank is purposefully wanting us to build up down the flanks, but also there's times where, let's say, Kuti or Porro have the ball, and Bentancur's the right side of the pivot, and he's just standing behind his marker. He's not making an angle, and I feel like he does that a lot, and you don't really notice it unless you look for it. And so I think, yeah, I'd say look out for it. People might not agree with me, but that's one to look out for, I think. And then maybe you'll agree, maybe you won't. Let's look on to Wolves. So we've got a Saturday 8:00 kickoff, which is 3:00 for you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
you're getting better at this.
I know, it's very confusing. Yeah, so I actually had a ticket, but I'm not going now because it's my birthday on Sunday. So I'm celebrating
happy early
it
birthday, dog.
on Saturday night. So I just thought I'd just suck at the
yeah.
game. So I'll be watching it at my house, but I have like all my friends coming around, so I'll be like 25 people there. So I'll have it on in the background
Nice.
while probably having a little drink. So I won't be fully in analysis mode. So it'll take me probably a rewatch to know what's actually going on. Mm-hmm. But hopefully it can just be a nice, easy win, and I can go about my night without stressing about it. What's your plans for the game, and how are you feeling about it?
My plans are the same as usual. I'm going to go down to my local bar, get there bright and early, get my breakfast, watch it with my crew of Spurs fans. Hopefully enjoy the game, because it's such an early game. When those results don't go our way, it fucking ruins my day. It ruins my weekend mostly.
It's a late game though for you though, isn't it?
It is.
But it's early.
I'm just realizing now it's 3 p.m. You said 8 and it threw me off.
Oh yeah. It's 3 p.m.
Yeah, 3 p.m. game means that actually my whole day, my whole morning is now off kilter, because now I have to figure out a plan. I'll probably go to the bar anyways, watch the early games.
Yeah.
And I have one of my friends is moving away to a different state, so we're doing like a going away get together, and then there's an engagement party after for someone else. So I've got a busy afternoon. I've got to try to squeeze that one in. I thought it was an early game. Yeah, no, I'll probably just watch it on my phone, weirdly enough, while I'm like driving around to these different get-togethers. So I might not be able to catch the whole thing, much like you. You might be distracted as well. I'm also hoping that it's one of those ones that we can kind of just chalk off 3 points and move on. None of these performances recently have like got me too far off my seat. So I'm.
But they also haven't been nervy either.
Yeah, not really nervy at all,
no.
Which I'm very unfamiliar with. I mean, these last 2 years have been like a heart attack every game.
Yeah.
So I kind of look forward to those. If we can pull off, another win, it would be one loss in 8-9 games. I think that's something that is entertaining enough for me. It gives me bragging rights. It gives me, things to banter with my friends about. I have no problem with 3 points. Let me clarify. But yeah, no, the fact that Wolves haven't won a game, I don't think they even have a point, right?
I think they're
no points.
I think they're on the bottom. Yeah, I think they have 0.
Yeah. I think they got their first win of the season. I was just looking at their fixtures. They beat Everton in the cup, so they got their first kind of points on the board. And yeah, I hope we can kind of handle them the way we've handled some of the other teams we played. where we kind of just control what we can control, defend our box well enough to hopefully get 1 or 2 goals on set pieces and second balls, and it's not looking like we're ever gonna who knows, we could turn a corner and start kind of creating open play chances, especially with kind of Kudus and Cootie and Mickey coming back into the team. With Destiny looked really good against Brighton, so that maybe that changes kind of the way we combine up the left. I really like Odebear these last 2 performances. I know that he's always going to be kind of a polarizing figure for forever, I guess. And he combines well with Destiny, with Xabi kind of drifting over to that left side. So I think we have the weapons. I think we have the firepower to kind of walk this game. Obviously, bogey team, Wolves, we're always a little nervous. I like their striker. I like that. That's about the only part of their team I like. I like Andre.
João Gomez is good.
Yeah, João Gomez is class. I like João Gomez.
Yeah, I was looking at their team the other day. I was like I back myself on knowing a lot of players, but flipping hell, I was like, who the hell are half these people? They've spawned about 5 players I've literally never heard of. Yeah, I was very confused. Yeah, I'm hoping for like a 2-0 at half time so I can just go back to my birthday party and just chill out. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Udogi's a massive boost. I love Udogi. I think he's gonna go so far. If he can stay injury free, I think he's so good. I think what he's gonna go for is he'll play Udogi, but I think he'll put Simmons back out on the left. I have a feeling, which I don't like, but I don't know why I think that, but I just have a feeling that because Odebear's started twice now, I feel like he'll bring Odebear out, he'll put Simmons on the left, and he'll put Sarr on a 10, and he'll play Palhinha and Bergvall, I reckon. Which I'm not. It's not ideal for me, but at least Simmons can then come and collect it even in the pockets because the doggy's going around him. Mm-hmm. So I think it's all right. And then obviously you got Kudus on the other side, who's just
it's a bit unbelievable,
ridiculous. So yeah, I think it should be a pretty straightforward win. Is Solanke back for that?
It sounded like he was. It sounded like he was training with the team. At least he'll be on the bench.
That would be great as well.
It'd be interesting if it's Kolomwani and Solanke on the bench.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him.
And Tell and Richie. It's a conundrum for him. I think that he's got to plan that well. We play Bodo away on Tuesday, which is
a big old trip.
Yeah, it's a long one. It's one of our longer ones that we have during the league phase.
There'll be a lot of rotation. I think he'll play a strong team against Wolves, and then he might rotate a little bit more for Bodo.
Hopefully Kolomwani can start the Bodo away. I think that would be a good game for him.
One bit of news I saw before I came on this call, which is completely random. I saw Deli Alli has so there's this rapper in the UK called Ardads, who's been like in and out of jail. Like he's kind of reformed now, and he makes jewelry, right? The obvious like footballer rapper type jewelry. And he's just put a video out saying, "Someone tell me where Deli Alli is. He owes me $6,000." Like,
oh my god!
And Deli Alli's obviously bought a chain off him and not paid him. And it's like I put a tweet out like, if someone told me in 2017 when Deli Alli's playing for us that he owed Ardad $6,000, because Ardad is like an old street rapper, and I was just like, what am I looking at? Like, this world is a simulation. So hopefully that gets smoothed out, because I don't want anything.
No, that'd be the last. That's the last thing Deli needs right now is to get internet beef over a rap chain. That's hilarious.
I was just looking at my phone like, what the hell is going on here? So hopefully that gets smoothed out.
Hopefully it was just a misunderstanding, because that's not something that Deli wants on his radar right now.
I'm sure he's got $6,000 to spare. Like, I feel like, despite him not playing football, I feel like he's got his fingers in a lot. Like, I think he knows he's got a lot of businesses. I have a feeling. Like in the fashion world, I feel like
I hope, man. That's the last thing he needs right now is to be in financial turmoil and also trying to resurrect his football career and also deal with the breakup of Cindy. So I forgot about that. It's the last thing he needs.
I think his football career is probably done.
That's a tough
Well,
one to
unless
say
he
out
wants to
loud.
drop down, unless he wants to do it
Yeah.
like Andy Carroll, I think, is playing in like the fourth tier of France,
I
something
saw
like that.
that.
And he said he's hardly getting paid anything, and he's just doing it because he loves the game. Which I like. I hope
Respect.
Deli does, but that doesn't feel like Deli to me. Like I feel like he likes the high life and stuff, which is not a bad thing. But that doesn't. I couldn't imagine him dropping down.
No, that seems like a huge leap for him to go down. I just never see that in
He's
him.
lived like the
Yeah,
footballer lifestyle.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so Wolves hopefully, and then we've got Bodo on Tuesday.
On
I
that
would I
on
would
that
love
turf.
to do that away day. I'm not doing it, but it's just such a weird place to go to watch Spurs. Like I think that would be such an interesting away
When
day.
when we went there, I watched like every match day vlog I could just to see
Oh yeah, yeah,
what Bodo was like. And it's such an interesting little town. It reminds me honestly of just like obviously I have no idea what it felt like, but it looked a lot like a New England Northeast city in America or like town in America where it's like a port
yeah.
city. It's very like fishing and sailing centric, and it just looked like a very cool place to go for a day or two to
Yeah,
see a
one
match.
hundred percent. I would like to go there even if Spurs aren't playing. I just think those places are so odd, but
Yeah.
so like yeah, interesting. And also just being there with like a small group of Spurs fans, like
Right.
drinking before and like just being in this random place in Norway, I think would be a great experience. Hopefully the conditions shouldn't be too bad because it's
Not as bad as last
September.
time.
Yeah.
Last time it was like
But
raining sideways or something.
yeah, 100%. But yeah, hopefully we rotate well for that, and then yeah, and then it's Leeds and then international break. But yeah, I know we wanted to do a bit of a shorter episode today, because we're kicking off Saturday and this will go out on the Friday. So unless you have anything else to add on Spurs, we can move on to one thing you'd recommend for people.
I just want to say I'm really looking forward to Solanke coming back. I know me and you both agree on that. It's not that Richie hasn't been good enough. I think he has like three goals and 2 assists or something like that. He's been good. His just general play is a little bit annoying. Let's just
Yeah,
say that. When he's not scoring, every single shot he takes, he falls down. His link up play can be hit or miss. And I love Richie for his passion, what he brings to the team. We know what you're going to get out of Richie, but I think that Dom adds another kind of layer to our attack.
refinement for sure. I
Yeah,
think it's
refinement,
weird. I don't
professionalism.
remember Richarlison having this falling down issue that he has at Spurs. Like I don't remember this being
Me
a thing
neither.
at Everton. But he literally is on the floor. But it's not like he's not diving. He's just off balance.
He
Like,
generally just falls down.
but it's not just when he's trying to receive it back to goal, and like it's also when he shoots. But then sometimes he'll do like a really nice lit bit of link up. Like it's weird. He's so hit or miss. Yeah, people have been suggesting Brennan in the nine, which I'm not against totally, but it needs to be the right game for it. Where we're so dominant that we don't need anything but box play from our striker. And I don't think we should experiment that in the Premier League. I think Bodo would be not a bad time to experiment that, although it's an away game in the Champions League. But you know what I'm trying to say. Like
Yeah.
Brennan's not going to be good at linking play. He's not good back to goal. But
If we go direct to him, we're fucked. Yeah, we
yeah,
can't go direct
but
to him.
you need to have
Yeah.
a proper 10 in there. Which if you have Simmons in there, then he can pick up the slack in terms of receiving in that area. And then you just have Brennan just purely poaching in the box. I think it can work in certain scenarios. It's definitely not like a one size fits all solution, but I think it's worth definitely thinking about. Although we're so stacked for nines that it feels a bit silly, I
Yeah.
guess.
It's complete
We'll see
opposite
we'll
of
see
what
what
we had
Colin
last
One
year.
brings.
We have so many options at 9 right now. It almost feels like we would need some injuries for him to play there. But
Yeah,
I do really like his attributes, finding space and poaching in the box. He seems to be so hungry for goals that like he almost won't allow himself not to be in the right position. And
it's
he's very good at predicting what his teammates are going to do in and around the box.
100%. It's
Yeah.
weird for someone who looks so unconfident in receiving the ball out wide, but as soon as they go through on goal, they look so confident. Now Son's left. I don't think he's the person I'd back probably ahead of anyone else running through on goal to finish it. And that's not a unconfident attribute. That's someone who backs themselves. So it's weird that it doesn't translate. And obviously there's different attributes there, but I do think if he could bring some of that kind of arrogance and confidence into his wing play, doesn't need to be anything complicated, but just to up it a little bit, I think would go a long way. But we've covered that a lot of times. But yeah, let's talk something to recommend the people. Have you got anything?
I do.
Yep, go on.
I do. I've been meaning to talk about this. I talked about it with one of my friends who were both super into movies, on Letterboxd, kind of watching all the classics.
Yeah.
And there's been a movie I've been meaning to watch for years, probably 2 or 3 years now, because I'm a huge Nicolas Cage fan. Somewhat ironically, Nicolas Cage recently, last 10, 15 years, has just done kind of meme movies.
My cousin was actually in a movie with him.
Really?
Did you ever watch the one where he's like trying to find Bin Laden?
No.
Okay, we'll get into that another time. But my cousin,
we'll talk about that later. That's hilarious.
But
those are the movies I'm kind of talking about. His recent movies have been kind of jokeified. People just make fun of them. But back in the 90s, he used to be, one of the biggest blockbuster names. And he has a movie with John Travolta. It's called Face Off. It's about a criminal and anti-terrorist kind of agent in America, and basically they switch faces and they switch bodies completely unintentionally, and they have to both one has to try to take over the world as the criminal, but now he's an FBI agent, and then the criminal who's actually in jail with this guy's face on has to try to break out and take his life back. And it's one of the coolest action movies I've ever watched. Not only is it it's action packed, there's action scenes all over the place. It's very emotional because it's a story about a guy who's lost his son and now thinks he's going to lose his marriage because this guy has taken over his life and his body. And it's also hilarious because it's just such an odd scenario. I gave it a 5 on Letterboxd. I said,
you give it a 5.
Yeah, if people say the grass is greener, the grass is greener on this side, and this side being I've seen Face Off.
I've seen it now.
So
for everyone
that's
who
what I
doesn't have
recommend.
Letterboxd, 5 is 5 stars, not 5 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 5 out of 5, 5 stars. I will watch it again very soon. It was that good.
Okay, well, I'll definitely add that to my watch list. I think I'm gonna go TV show as well. I've just started, which I think I told you about, but The Americans on, well, for any UK listeners, it's on Disney Plus. Oh, I'm sure that's the same on American.
It's actually on Hulu.
Oh, it's on Hulu.
Weirdly enough, yeah.
We don't have Hulu over here. Well, I don't think we have it. It's not a big thing.
It's like the same thing. They're all owned by Disney.
Okay. So that's about in the Cold War, the KGB Russian sort of government would send over sleeper agents to America, who would basically start lives there and only ever really get called upon when they were needed. But they would basically live quite normal lives, but still working for the Russian government. But some of them were trained so well that they perfected the American accent as well. So it's about this basically pretty normal seeming American suburban couple who end up having kids and whatever, but they're actually KGB agents. So it's about them kind of managing that. And then an FBI agent ends up moving onto their road just by chance. And it's about how they kind of form a bit of a friendship-ish. It's a bit like Breaking Bad-ish with Walt and Hank, that kind of vibe.
Got you. So they don't, they haven't discovered yet.
No,
That's
not yet. Anyway, I've just started it, so it's not.
It's been on my watch list for a while. I know that when it was first released, I think it got released when I was in college or high school. And
2013 to 2018, I think.
Yeah, it was right at the end of my high school career, and I remember my parents talking about it as
it's
something.
Got very good reviews.
That they wanted to show me when I was older. So
yeah,
something that I've had on my watch list for a while. Back in the day, I wasn't too keen on history, but now I'm like, I got to learn all about this stuff. So.
No, it's very interesting, but it's also very watchable.
Good.
So yeah, that's a film and a TV show for you. Hopefully we finish off this week with a Spurs win. That would make it 2 from 2 and
another undefeated week.
One. Yeah. So yeah, I think results wise we've started very, very well. Hopefully it continues, and then with a couple more exciting performances to go with it, I think everyone will be happy with that. So yeah, everyone, please do leave the podcast a 5-star. Comment what you'd like us to discuss or anything. Also, I've got a new video out on Archie Gray that came out today. More detail of what I was kind of talking about earlier. And yeah, thank you for listening. Gus, I hope you have a great weekend at all your different social events.
Yeah, I hope you have a good birthday, dog.
Thank you very much.
Happy early birthday. Come on, you Spurs.
Hopefully another year of supporting Spurs will be better than the last 25.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, thanks for listening, everybody, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.